Alright, let's have a look. So this is Triton, Showtime against Drogo. StarCraft menu music, that's right. I'm sick of my videos being muted, Terry. Alright, here we go. Let's watch it from Showtime's perspective since he is the better player. I don't mean that in a rude way, I think it's just unequivocally true. That's what I've been doing for the past videos and replays as well. Alright, so copy and paste up until 1 minute. Okay, so second gateway goes down. Showtime sends his probe out. Drogo, second gateway goes down, sends his probe out. Drogo's probe is headed on over. Where is he headed on over? I have no idea. Never mind. Showtime's probe is not going to scout. He's going to do something cheeky. So 1 minute 20 deviation. Down goes the cyber for both players. Second pylon going down for our boy Showtime. So notice the location. It's out of the worker scout path when you click in most spaces. So you have to like specifically click in that place, which is why it's pretty much the first place you want to check outside of right in your natural is that place there, because it's such a cheeky hard to find spots if you don't focus it down. Like again, the same on Ephemeron in the natural. You want to be checking this place specifically for proxies. And some little cuteness right here from Showtime. So let's pay attention to when Showtime... Whoops, I did not mean to do that. So let's just go forward. So what's going to happen is the cybernetics core finishes for Showtime. And because he doesn't want to make it obvious that he's going Stargate first, so look at his gas rate. He's got 50 gas. He could try and make 2 adepts and cancel them, right? That's something he could do. He doesn't actually have the minerals to make anything, like 2 of anything. But what he does is he makes 2 zealots. Actually, if you make 2 zealots, you can get warp gate straight away. So there's that advantage. Drogo's in Showtime's base and he says, alright, we're scouting for your second pylon, which isn't here. So we know you're proxying something, so I can't do a 2 gate or 2 unit expand. Yeah, so he's not going to go 2 units and expand because he's seen that there's second pylons missing. And then he wants to see what your first 2 units are. Now, that's the goal of this probe. And you can see, right, warp gate has started, so the cybernetics core looks busy. So if warp gate was skipped, you'd know something really crazy is going down. And you can see 2 units being created from the gateways, but these are 2 zealots that Showtime's going to cancel. So once again, we're doing the old bamboozle. We will bamboozle our opponents. And Drogo has no real way of knowing that there's gas unaccounted for, and that these aren't 2 adepts or Stalker Sentry or anything really. But he does know that there's something proxied, so he can probably assume that these are 2 adepts because it's kind of hard to proxy to make 2 Stalkers that quickly and then to also proxy something. Although you did see stats do that with Robo and then 2 Stalkers. There was a delay though, so you see he cancels his zealots there because he didn't have the gas to make any gas gateway units. And then he makes his 2 Stalkers. And Drogo's probably thinking, I'm going to put a pylon down and see what units are. But where are your units? You should have units right now. And he doesn't. Here comes a Stalker. And Drogo's probably confused right now. He's like, you should have already had 2 units, so why did I only see 1 now? Nexus going down. And this is what I was saying about how Parting built a shield battery in his game against Showtime on Ephemeron. He just built it blind. even though his adepts had seen that there was a Nexus down, he still built the shield battery. He could have cancelled it even after like acknowledging, maybe he just didn't see that the Nexus was there. But even after acknowledging it, he keeps the shield battery because Showtime likes to do this thing where he goes 2 units and a proxy oracle and an expand. And it's one of these things where it's very flimsy. You only have 2 units. Granted, it's stalkers. Like if it were 2 adepts, it'd be even more flimsy because they're not actually very good in dealing with anything. But 2 stalkers can deal with adepts. They can deal with other stalkers running across the map. They can deal with oracles being proxied against you. So 2 stalkers are way more kind of solid. And then the oracle is obviously very flimsy. Either it does damage or it doesn't. There are units in the mineral line, or there isn't. There's a shield battery, or there isn't. So it's one of these flimsy kind of openers. But it can be devastating, right? If you have absolutely no anticipation that this is coming or that this is a possibility, and it catches you off guard. And once again, it just look at all of these games and tell me which player didn't catch the other player off guard and just absolutely decimate them. Like it was just like completely one-sided shrekage in all of the games we've seen so far in the series. And this is just going to be the same thing. Either the Oracle does no damage, or it just kills your opponent there and there. You can see there's a shield battery being made at the natural. And Drogo doesn't really understand what's going on. Here comes the Oracle. Empty mineral line. Feels good, man. Four workers.
Research complete.
Dimensional strings attuned.
5 workers. And we have our natural up quite quickly. Not as quickly as Drogo. Drogo doesn't actually make a tech structure before his Nexus, whereas we made a Stargate before our Nexus. So that's why our Nexus was quite late. Well, not late, it's actually still quite a very early Nexus. Just earlier from Drogo. So even though Drogo loses 5 workers, 6 now. Yikes, almost losing a Oracle to a Sentry there. Yeah, even though that's a hallucinated Phoenix, not a real one, otherwise we'd be in trouble from Showtime. But yeah, even though we lost 5 workers, we have a Nexus up, so that definitely mitigates some of the losses. And you can see Showtime's up 4 workers and 300 resources. You do have to remember though, we have our tech structure in the middle of the map, and these Oracles' shelf life isn't great. We did actually lose an Oracle there, probably unnecessarily. But they kind of did their job, disrupting the opponent, killing some workers. Just nice to keep them alive. And here's Drogo. He actually scouts by accident this Stargate. And he says, nice. Free Stargate. And Pylon. The Pylon kill can be quite relevant. And Showtime just goes into a Robo, gets an Immortal out, some shield batteries, because he's worried about a counter push. Whenever you do eco damage to your opponent, you're of course terrified of a counter push. But the eco is leveled up now, it's 39 each. The resources lost tab is heavily favoring Drogo. So Drogo's a happy boy right now. 1 Oracle flies in, there's only 1 Stalker to deal with the Oracle, so we lose another 3 workers. But we're still at the same economy. You can see Showtime no longer making any probes, so he's happy to just be on 39 workers. And Drogo keeps making more than 39, 40 workers, but then he just keeps on losing a couple at a time. We do have a DT shrine from Drogo. I imagine this is simply because you open up Stargate and you go Oracles. You lose one of those Oracles. In fact, yeah, we lost. Did we make 3 Oracles in total, or 2? In any case, we're down to our last Oracle, and the Robo from from Showtime is late, so his observer count has got to be quite low. So that's why DTs could catch Showtime off guard. But generally, it's kind of a poor, I think, response. Notice the stasis ward getting shot down before it gets up, rather than like running away with it. You just shoot the ward. Yeah, so I don't really like the DT shrine because at a certain point it gets a bit easy to defend DTs. Like, it takes like 15 or 10 seconds of a chrono boost on the observer to get it. So there's some DTs coming in right now. And there's just one pylon powering that robo, so that's a bit scary, right? But look at the amount of adepts from Showtime. Showtime actually going for glaives this game. And glaives are not that useful anywhere except for PvP. You can consistently look at how he's shading just to get the extra attack speed. Oracle comes back and deals the DT. And Showtime is losing probes. Let's look at the economy. We're down to 33, so we've lost 6 because we were on 39 this whole time. And it's getting scrappy. It's just, there was a chance that these DTs did absolutely nothing, and now there's 4 DTs, which is 1,000 resources. 4 DTs are extremely expensive to lose. We're using hold position, or target fire as well. Oh wow, Drogo actually creates an Archon in Showtime's base and starts munching on those adepts of an Archon, which is obviously not bad. Slightly better than just losing your DTs for free. But yeah, after all is said and done, 31 workers for Showtime, 42 for Drogo. Army value is roughly equal, but Drogo is ahead. With a better economy, that's only going to get better for him. Showtime's lost more, but then remember that there is the Stargate and Pylon to account for. And it looks like Drogo could easily win from here for sure, right? I don't remember who wins, but I imagine it's Showtime just because he's better, but it looks like Drogo's in a good position. See, actually nothing being produced for Showtime right now. It's very rare that you see, okay, 1 pylon now. So we're on 34 workers. We're trying to get an economy back for Showtime. I don't know why though, because like he's got 34 workers and he's got mineral saturation everywhere. And like as 10-minute mark arrives, oh, he actually leaves. Wow. Okay, I don't think he needed to. Yeah, he actually leaves. I don't know why he makes the 2 probes, because he's going to mine out here shortly. So why make more probes? But I think he may have been demoralized. He feels like he was cheated. The DT play did more damage than it should have, for sure. Like if he just had an observer ready, or even his oracle was ready, or he reacted faster. Because actually, if you look at the reaction for Showtime, when the DTs come in, let's have a look at it around here. If you look at the reaction, it doesn't seem like he respected there were DTs being warped in his base. So he looks on over a second. He makes an observer and a bunch of adepts.
I have met the end.
We've got Slicey Boys working on the pylon, which is obviously a big problem. And that's it. If there was a second pylon, if one of these 2 pylons, which actually achieve nothing, were powering this robo, this observer gets out, right? And then these 2 DTs don't deny this observer and don't just slice out. Of course, there is a fight going on right now, so the DTs are just AFK slicing adepts, which isn't particularly useful. But just the amount of time that we've bought here, this 1 DT forces the Oracle to go back, but the other one, his brothers managed to make it into the natural, and he isn't scouted, he isn't revealed. Now there's absolutely no mining going on here, right? So think about how much we're losing just out of pure mining loss. And Drogo doesn't seem to realize that the robo was repowered, and that obviously the observer that we tried to chrono out in the first place is going to come out. So I don't think that the DTs that he made like 3, it wasn't even a small amount. He makes another 3. This one was an OG one that didn't get tagged, but the other one Wait, what happened to the one in... So there's one in his natural. Another one rolls up into the main. Doesn't die. He manages to escape. Oh, he does die. He dies to 2 adepts. Okay. Weird game. But yeah, he makes another 3 DTs and kills an adept with it. And maybe 2 adepts. But 2 adepts is 250 minerals, which is 250 resources, which is the price of 1 DT. So if you lose 3 DTs for the price of 1 DT, I'm no math genius, but that doesn't seem to work out. He does kill some probes with that Archon. He actually kills like 6 things, and 2 of them are adepts, so 4 probes. So maybe not as bad, but still 5 probes is what you need to make up for 1 DT if you're forgetting mining time and not mining off of full saturation. So 4 is probably enough for 1 DT, but again, he's probably still down a DT. It just didn't seem like a good play to make. Like, Showtime could have looked back and run away with his DTs, and he wouldn't have actually got that much. With his adept, sorry. So yeah, I think that the DT play was flimsy. Maybe, I think Drogo knew. Let's just have a look at when he puts down the DT shrine. I think he actually just saw the Robo being Artosis Pylons and was like, hey, I'm going to DT that later on. So we go into a Robo for Showtime after 4 units and a Nexus. We have a shield battery in the Nat, but we don't have a shield battery in the main, so we take some damage from the Oracle. Take some more damage from the Oracle. 2 Oracles. It's only 2, not 3. And then we go Twilight Council, which is... the opponent can't be surprised, because you typically go for like Blink against Stargate, but he's actually making Charge and a DT Shrine. And the DT Shrine is here. So let's go back 10 seconds. There's the DT Shrine. What does Drogo know about... Yeah, he sees a Robo off of a Pylon. And by the time he gets here, there could be another 7 Pylons across this Robo. It just happens that Showtime doesn't do that. It just happens that way. Like, he builds his Pylon here instead of here. This mistake costs Showtime the game. Like, that's how annoying PvP is. It's just, this Pylon was slightly south, powering this Robo, then the game is Showtime's. Instead, the game is Drogo's. Like, how irritating can a matchup be? It could be TVT. Okay, you're right, guys. It could be TVT. Alright, but yeah, it feels like this push isn't bad from Showtime. He just fizzles out. He ends up warping in at home. So he warps in 4 adepts to deal with the DT threat. Actually, it would have been really cool for Drogo to just cancel the warp in by unsieging the warp prism and then just warping in at home, because then that's 4 adepts that Showtime's not going to get. But yeah, Showtime does have an observer, so it's not like he's playing like flimsy against DTs. He does have an observer, he does have a Robo. It's just he positions his Robo on the side that you would drop DTs onto. So imagine if the Robo was on this side. Then he's got another maybe 9 seconds. It's not even 9, it's 6. He needs 6 seconds under Chrono Boost to get this observer out. That might be the travel time. If he builds his Robo here, that might be the travel time that he needs to not lose his Pylon before the Robo makes the observer, even if it's a Artosis Pylon. So yeah, that's another thing that could have saved this game. But this trade here for Drogo looks good. The Adept Shades look somewhat effective. He didn't pick up that Immortal, but we'll have to forgive him. I like how he's just constantly shading to get that damage done. And then he just takes a million hits from the DTs and loses the game. But if he could continue this onslaught of... Mind you, Drogo has 4 shield batteries in his natural. That's not a small amount of shield batteries to deal with. So yeah, very, very funny, flimsy game from both opponents. Remembering that Showtime started this game by proxying his Oracle just over here, and then going 2 units expand. Like, that wasn't a very solid macro style either. In Drogo's was, like, he was very just standard, solid stuff, until he goes DTs and just starts clowning. And lo and behold, that's what wins him the game, because up until then he was getting abused. And then he does something really clowny and wins the game with it. So that's just PvP. That's every game goes like this. Every single heckin' game goes like this.